For more reaction, we now welcome Israeli Member of Parliament in the Blue and White Party, Ruth וסרמן-לנדה, the former Israeli diplomat in Egypt as well, and she joins us live from Jerusalem. Ruth, thank you so much for your time. So this meeting between Benny Gantz and Mahmoud Abbas taking place at the home of the Defence Minister in Rosh Hashanah. What do you make of this personal location for this meeting, and of course also happening inside Israel?
So, Benita, good evening. I think it's very important that a relationship is maintained between the Minister of Defense and Abu Mazen, the chairperson of the Palestinian Authority. And the reason for that is to strengthen the security cooperation for the very purpose of maintaining security for the citizens of Israel. This is the key issue. This is the responsibility of the Ministry of Defense and the minister himself. And in fact, this is almost, I would say, an unpolitical, unpopular step, but very important in terms of the responsibilities which the minister himself had taken in order to make sure that these, I would say, passages of cooperation are maintained and even strengthened, particularly when we know that when the Palestinian Authority is weakened, the Hamas may have an added value or an advantage in taking over the Palestinian street in the West Bank, and that is certainly something that is not within the interest of the Israeli government.
Well, Hamas has certainly made its views clear on its thoughts on the meeting taking place. Ruth, break down for us the inroads made during this meeting over and above the security coordination, a massive gesture with Israel legalizing the status of 9,500 undocumented Palestinians and foreigners living in the West Bank and Gaza. Tell us more. What stands out as the main outcomes from the meeting?
So I would say that the main issue that was relayed by the Minister of Defense to Abu Mazen was the fact that economic, constructive steps for the people were being handed to the Palestinian Authority. And again, the purpose thereof was to strengthen the Palestinian Authority and, in a sense, to weaken the Hamas. The issue of maintaining a kind of a status of those particular persons, I would say unsubstantiated at this current moment still, especially the number thereof, is very important for Israel to keep track of them. They're here anyway. And this needs to be authorized, authenticated, and then stopped, or more closely, I would say, supervised. And this is, again, something that was spoken about, but mainly, Benita, the issue of the economic, constructive steps, I would say, even CBMs, kind of confidence-building measures in order to strengthen the Palestinian Authority and, again, make sure that Hamas does not take over. We all know that they are trying as hard as they can all the time.
Now, talk to us a little bit as well in terms of the road ahead, particularly when it comes to progress in terms of dialogue about future peace efforts. It's been quite an elusive concept for a long time. Any genuine, tangible progress out of the meeting? Your thoughts?
I would not say, Benita, that the issue was pertaining to the actual peace process. That was not the purpose of the meeting. The purpose was to really maintain existing processes, existing dialogue, which is so important, as previously mentioned, for the safety and for the security of the civilians and citizens of the State of Israel. This coalition is very fragile, very pluralistic. Not all factors within it agree with a peace process. There is a difficulty also on the Palestinian part because Abu Mazen himself is not enjoying a huge support from his own Palestinian street in the West Bank. And I think that also is indicative of the blogs, of the written comments made by so many young Palestinians right now and these days in the West Bank, and that is all the more reason for us to strengthen economically the Palestinian authorities, and particularly the security mechanisms within the Palestinian Authority, which promise a significant degree of safety. It's not complete, it's not 100%, it's not hermetic, nor is this whole situation optimal or wonderful. And I want to also emphasize and stress, the meeting is not a kind of a condolence or acceptance of the behavior of the Palestinian Authority of paying the families of those who have perpetrated terror acts. Israel is against that. The Minister of Defense is against that. Nonetheless, the cooperation on the security issues needs to be maintained, needs to be strengthened. And again, the most important thing for the Minister of Defense is not to do the populist step, the political step, but rather that which is so important in terms of his own capacity and responsibility in the sense of defense.
Well, we certainly appreciate your time. Thank you so much for speaking to us on this day. Ruth Wasserman-Lande speaking to us live from Jerusalem. Thank you.
Thank you, Benita. Yeah.